Hey everyone, I've been wanting to talk about trust for a long time, and I had a discussion with a friend almost 10 years ago, and someone is crossing the road or getting out of the. Okay. Um, so, trust is a very underrated concept. If you think about it, a country like India, where I spent first 30 years of my life, is a very low trust society. A country like America or many European countries are very high trust society. What that means is, if let me illustrate that with an example. If you're walking on a street and someone comes and says, in US somebody would say, dude, there's a roadblock on the other side, just take this turn and turn around and you will get there faster. You'll be like, sure, thanks, and you'll do it. In India, the moment somebody says something like that, the first thing we'll do is doubt and verify, and all your antenna will go up thinking there is impending danger, and you'll try to figure out whether it is right or wrong and what should you do about that. And in most of the cases it is a trap. People try to cheat others, even in countries like Italy or Greece. Sometimes the government has to warn tourists that be aware of thieves or cheats, thugs, because the trust is not that high. So if you look at in economics, we call this not friction. Friction is the cost of doing business, but in order to carry out social and economic transactions, there has to be a certain amount of trust. If you don't trust to a certain level, the entire social economic system will fall apart, and the cost of not having trust is huge. So let's think about if I'm in US and I'm trying to buy a property, I can go and search, I can call the realtor. A lot of transactions are done just on phone, faceless, because you trust the system, and you look at the papers, you sign them, you are done. It's a very low cost transaction. In India, if you want to buy property, you have to research the builder, you have to research the locality, you have to do a lot of research just to avoid getting into any kind of fraud, and that's a huge cost on the entire economic system. So the conversation that I had with my friend, he had just returned to India from a trip in US, and I was asking him, so hey, this weekend you're gonna go for a hike or something? And he said, we don't do hikes. He had some work to be finished at home, and then he had to take care of something else. And then I started thinking and talking. We had, if you take PPP into consideration, the purchasing power parity, we earned pretty much the same. He was maintaining the same standard of living, probably better, living in India, even though earning slightly less than me. So I asked him, if you have the same resources, why can't you just get this done like I do? I have home problems, I call someone, they can take care of it, or sometimes I do it myself. Why can't you do that? And what he said was, this is India, you can't just trust anyone to do anything. If you start trusting everyone with things that you do, they will eat you alive. The cost or the price of doing those things will go up if you don't verify and re-verify what they're really doing. And that was eye-opening for me, because like I said, PPP wise we both earned the same, but if you ask me, the standard of living in India is not as good as US, in my view, primarily because India is a very low trust society, and if you don't have your risk antenna up all the time and thinking about who could be defrauding you or trying to take advantage of you, you will lose very quickly and very often. When I was growing up, I was not street smart. I was the one who would get cheated all the time. One time somebody took 2,000 rupees for me for getting a change or something. He owed me, and he put some play of words, and I ended up giving it to him, and then it disappeared. On the petrol pumps, gas stations in India, it's almost impossible to get a fair transaction unless you have your eyes and ears open all the time. Sometimes they will not zero out it's not self-serve. There is an attendant who fills it for you, and sometimes they will not zero out the indicator. So if the previous person filled 5 liters and you asked for 20, they will start from there and you will only get the balance 15. Sometimes they will shortchange you. Sometimes they will fill it somewhere else and while you are not noticing. It's very common. And I was so fed up that at one point I started going to only one station where I trusted, and it was easy to keep tab of what was going on, but it was mind-boggling. And another time I was in college, there was a classmate came running to me saying, hey, you got 10 rupees, it's an emergency. I took out my wallet, gave him 10 rupees, and another friend who was sitting next to me says, hey, why did you give it to him? I'm like, he said there was an emergency. Well, he wanted to buy a ball so they could play in the yard, and somehow he figured that I was the easy target to get money out of, and I ended up being the easy target. And it was pretty common in India. I was the, how would you say, a sucker for tricks, so I almost always lost. But going back, if I had to do this again, would I want to be street smart? Not really. Like I said, being street smart imposes a huge cost. If you are always looking out for risks and danger, you cannot be focused on anything else. I would rather keep my regular book smarts, and which has helped me tremendously in life. And in the worst case, I would move to a country where I don't have to be street smart, which is what I did. And like I said, the standard of living in this country is not only good because we have a lot of money, but also because we are a high trust society, and it helps keep us happy in the shortest way to say it. Does it mean that all Americans are honest? Not really, but we have been taught to trust each other, which means for the most part, we don't take advantage of others unnecessarily. And 2, we have built systems to protect people from being cheated by building all kind of checks and balances and high penalty for frauds and things like that. So that's what I was trying to say. A high trust for a society is really good. If you read any strategy book, it will tell you that the dominant strategy at any point of time is for you to verify things. So if I was turning on that street and somebody said don't go here, the dominant strategy for me is to verify, because the cost is low, the reward is high, not running into a trap. So I should do that. That's what the strategy dictates. But if I start doing it for every single thing in my life, that cost adds up, and I have absolutely no desire to do something like that. So again, strategy and economics and general being of society are always in a tussle with each other, and we have to find the right balance where we can coexist together. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.